Donald Trump is fundamentally a celebrity and specifically a reality TV star at that. And while other people have pointed out Trump 2.0, yes, also still very chaotic, let's consider that the mayhem in the Oval is not just chaos, but maybe course correction. Okay, so consider the biggest course correction of the Trump administration. After Liberation Day, Trump didn't stop because of the stock market. He stopped because of the bond markets. After the bottom fell out of the bond market, he then announced the 90-day pause, and now you have all these deals being negotiated. You had Pete Hegseth, who's fired a lot of leakers. You have Marco Rubio going and saying on TV that, like, enrichment is the red line for there being any nuclear deal with the Iranians. After Putin refused to come to the table, you have Trump cementing that rare earths mineral deals with Zelensky to benefit Ukraine and give them a de facto security guarantee. You know, say what you will about the chaos, but I'd rather have chaos if it means course correction from bad policy than what Joe Biden had, which was double down on an open border, triple down on inflation, and quadruple down on the worst foreign policy of my lifetime.
Tiana, I agree with you. I do think we're starting to see some, leaders emerge in these behind-the-scenes power dynamic battles within the president's team. So I don't want to revisit that road because we've talked about it at length. I want to talk about Mike Waltz in particular, who you brought up, who is, of course, being replaced by Secretary of State Marco Rubio as the National Security Advisor as well. I think he's leading USAID and the National Archives and, basically every agency under the sun. Do we think Waltz, because the way the White House is spinning this, his promotion to UN ambassador is that a promotion? But I'm not so sure he has the votes to actually make it through the confirmation process after everything was signaled and in a very clear sign that the president has lost trust in him because he's moving him out of this current position.
So you can correct me because you're probably more in the know about this, but my understanding based on people that I've talked to is that a lot of the Waltz dissonance, like part of the reason why Waltz's star fell while Rubio's was ascendant is not necessarily the difference in their foreign policy, because obviously, like, they're fairly aligned when it comes to policy, but rather that Waltz interpersonally was not succeeding. Like, that job requires you to be friends and backslap and work with a lot of people in D.C., whereas the UN ambassador literally gets sent to New York.
Yeah.
And it's a swanky gig, it's a fun gig. If you can thrive in it, which clearly someone like Nikki Haley thrived in that role. And I don't see why Waltz wouldn't, because he is, Signalgate notwithstanding, Waltz is a very smart guy. But if we've all had people that are difficult to work with, not Christian and Tiana, but other people. And, like, it's not that they're bad or incompetent, but, like, they just rub people the wrong way. And it sounds like that might have been some of the issue with Waltz, like, beyond the policy element of it. And then, of course, there's Signalgate. And Trump didn't want to give Jeffrey Goldberg a scalp, but then,
he sits for this interview, I guess, right? Yeah.
And he's kind of, shifting Waltz away. But I don't think it's as ideological. And it's funny because you did see, like, the Steve Bannon PaleoCon faction really hype themselves up about the reports that Waltz was getting fired entirely. And instead, nope, he's being moved to New York to represent the U.S. on the world stage.